get a chance to speak, and all of you have lots to speak about, I'm sure. So thank you very much for coming in. And without wasting any time, what I'll do is, first of all, what I really want to do is to take you what actually is coming up in March, which I think is something which a lot of people don't end up seeing. And up till then, you want to say hi to each other, please do that. This will be on the screen, and you people can just say hi to each other. Hi, Loretta. So this is already what's happened in March. Okay, let's do that also. This has happened. This has happened. This is two parts. One is obviously International Women's Day, and then this whole mediation vision 2026 that I put up. Part of that is diversity, equity, and inclusion. So this becomes a part of that also, and we'll have more discussions on that. So we have so many women on this screen, but are there as many in the Zoom call? Let me check. So then what's coming up is, of course, Anna is coming in on Saturday. Then this, if anyone else wants to come in, this is Socrates and mediation. So philosophy is also one part of that vision 2026. So Socrates and mediation is on the 18th of March. We have Mahatma Gandhi and mediation part 2. We had part 1 already. So you can still come in if you tell me you want to be a speaker. I did put out a call on speakers, and this is Bernie's part 3. Up till now, he hasn't come into the world in this episode, in any of the episodes. He comes in now, hopefully. And then we celebrate mediators on the last day of the month. And April 2022 is symposium number 2, heart, soul, and spirituality and mediation is the topic. And I'm speaking fast because I don't want to waste everyone's time, because I'm sure you have lots to talk about. So please just get in touch with me if you want to be a speaker. It's going to be throughout April. Like the last symposium, it'll start for Wednesdays and Thursdays, and hopefully that'll be enough. So that's about it. And this, thank you very much. So what we'll do is, let's do with this. Hi, Sarah. We'll start with you, because let's do time zone wise. You and Guna are the ones, I think, at 10 o'clock right now. So let's start from there. So between Guna and you, how do you toss a coin, whichever one wants to start first? So yes, Guna, are you going to be nice?
Do you want to start?
Sarah, you can start.
I'm not going to introduce anyone, Sarah. I'm not introducing anyone. That'll take too long, maybe. And all your profiles are up on the post. Everyone sees those posts, so have a look at it. But let me say hi to Janice first. Hi, Janice. Janice also is short of time, so we'll come to you, Janice. She also has to go for an appointment. So Sarah, please.
How long have I got before I launch in and keep talking?
No, you don't have too much time. We'll start with a little introduction. What we'll do is just a little introduction. The topic, I kept it wide. I said women and mediation. Whatever comes to your mind right now, and then we'll follow up with further discussion on that.
Brilliant. So, thank you.
Please, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sarah Blake. I'm a mediator conflict strategist based in Australia. I've been practicing for 26 years, but I'm also a second generation practitioner. So my father was one of the first mediators in Australia, which I think allows me to bring a really unique perspective to this business that we do. I am absolutely passionate about the business of dispute resolution, I guess, as all of you are here today, but particularly around women in mediation. I'm a non-lawyer practitioner, which also brings a really different perspective and dynamic to it. And on International Women's Day, I think it's really important that we as mediators also have some of the hard conversations rather than avoiding them. And so what some of my concerns are, I guess, from what I see of women in mediation, is that there are so many incredible and powerful practitioners across the globe. Women particularly are shaping new ways of doing business. Women are taking the forefront of doing amazing training, really developing the model, the research around this business. But we're not necessarily being appointed to those high-profile, big-paying jobs. So there seems to be a disconnect between it's okay to call on women to do the pivotal foundational work of training, of speaking, of shifting our perceptions of when mediation is useful, but not necessarily getting us into the room. And it creates some tension, I think, around how women are valued. What is our legitimacy within this industry? Where is the money? And how are we making sure that as women, we too are equally valued in this space? So I thought it would be really useful to just talk about some of the strengths that we actually bring to the table. I think as women, we're particularly good at understanding the complex dynamics within conflict. We're really good at managing not just one issue points, but all those layers that come into the process that we can understand, and we see insights and threads that come into the complex layers of conflict that perhaps others aren't used to. Because of this, we're really good at unveiling the depth of the interest. We dig in really well. We ask very insightful questions. And perhaps this makes people a little bit uncomfortable. What it certainly does lead to is much more effective outcomes. So what it means is that our solutions then become much more focused on sustainability, rather than creating an agreement that we've all ticked the box, we've done this and we've moved on. I think what we as women really understand because of this holistic perspective is that an agreement that isn't sustainable isn't useful. And so we bring our skills and we create, I think, a depth to agreement making that perhaps is also undervalued. We are able to juggle multiple personalities particularly well. I think because naturally women are often much better at the emotional intelligence. It gives us the capacity to juggle those personalities. And I think I have some concerns that as a profession, we diminish the impact of the emotion on conflict in our desires to control and contain a narrow dispute. What that does, it lessens the strength of any agreement. So as women, juggling multiple personalities, understanding the value of emotion, helping to manage those dynamics and draw out as much information as we can becomes a really powerful selling point. So what I want to do and what I hope for us as a profession and as women is for us to start really celebrating and articulating how we value add to the industry, rather than sitting back and just waiting for those big jobs to come for us. So I'm super excited by what I see as a global uplifting of women connecting. I know through COVID that we've got really good at building those relationships across the globe and developing friendships and supporting and learning from each other. So I hope as an industry and as fellow women that we find the way to not just do our job well, but be leaders and sell what we do, because the world needs us. They need what we bring to dispute resolution. Thank you very much.
Well said, Sarah. Well said. Of course, you'll come back. This is not the end. But what I would want is, why don't everyone just put your countries against your names, so at least we get an idea where all we getting a perspective from. So let me also say hi to everyone else who's come. Hi, Gabriela, Linda, Sultan. You've come in a little later. So I won't, like I said, I'm not introducing anyone right now because obviously your profiles are all available on social media. We'll just go straight to the topic. And because of the time constraint that some people have, if you have some time, Janice had to go. Janice, you want to come in first? Because you want to leave? And with Janice's look, she's very early in the morning. She's at 6 o'clock right now. So that's the 6 o'clock look. Yes, Janice. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good morning and good evening, wherever you are. It is 6 o'clock in the morning, my time, on the west coast of California. Let me just very briefly say who I am. I'm a practitioner of neutrality, which means I wear a lot of different hats, which is no surprise to women on this call because we do that every single day, right? I'm an arbitrator, a mediator, a hearing officer, a special master, and a dispute prevention facilitator. So what does all that mean? It means I'm happy to find any single way that I can bring parties together to resolve their dispute, depending on the venue. I couldn't agree with Sarah more, and let me give you just a little story about what a friend of mine recently said to me. I've been a full-time neutral since 2017. I have been a part-time neutral for over 35 years, because when I was a practitioner, I was a lawyer, and when I was a practitioner, I did arbitrations and mediations as well, but more to help the community rather than as my paying gig. So my lawyer was what paid the income, but my arbitration and mediation was my passion. Then I decided, that's silly. Why not make my passion my paying gig, right? And that's what I did. Although I did love litigation for the time that I did it. But because I've been in the industry for 35 years, I look at contemporaries of mine. What a friend of mine characterizes as pale, male, and stale. The older white men who've been in the industry for a very long time. And as Sarah pointed out, those folks are getting complex commercial litigations where they're charging, upwards of $700 an hour, $5,000 a day, things, in US terms, a huge amount in my book of money. And, a friend of mine said, you're pretty well known, and I do a lot of cases, and I actually do have a lot of business. I'm not complaining about that. But, I was talking to my friend about how do we promote women? How do we increase our book of business, if you will? And how are we currently situated? And she's a mentee of mine because I do believe in reaching down and bringing back up, right? So that's, I think, what women are really very good at. And she said, Janice, I'm going to be honest with you. Given your wealth of experience, given your expertise, and just the sheer amount of intellectual prowess you have, you should be getting much higher paying and more complex cases than you currently are. And that really made me sit back and think, because, I thought, hey, I'm doing pretty good, right? I've got a lot of cases. I've got, my calendar's pretty full. I'm loving it. But she's right. Because if I look at someone who's been in the industry as long as I have, with the kinds of skills that I have, they're commanding much greater level of cases. And what I've decided to do, which is probably going to shoot myself in the foot, but I don't care, is if there's a smaller matter that I do pro bono because it's my community service, then I will continue to do that because I believe in that. But if it's a smaller matter that's a paying matter, I'm going to refer that down to my mentee and put myself only in the ring of the more complex commercial mediations and arbitrations. And, it seems counterintuitive to get more business. You want to turn away business because that doesn't make any sense to me. But I kind of feel that my husband said that you are a Veffin good. Do you guys know what a Veffin good is? Is that it's the kind of product where the more you value yourself and the more the people see you as valuable, the higher you can command. So here's an example in the market. Perfume. If a perfume is selling for like $2 on the shelves of some grocery store, we assume it's not necessarily that great, which is just prejudice on our part. We don't really know until we smell it. But you have the same perfume in a fancy department store selling for $200 an ounce. And all of a sudden, oh, this must be really good stuff, right? And same thing with wine. If you get the cheap $2 mass production wine, you think oh, that can't be that great. But then you get this like $50 bottle of wine, and you think, oh, this must be really good. That's a veffing good, right? And I think women are veffing goods. That we tend not to put ourselves out there at a higher price range. And as a result, people don't see us as the high priced bottle of perfume. They see us as the department store $2 bottle of perfume. And I think the only way for that to change is for us to make it change, for us to refer cases to each other, to get ourselves more out there in terms of putting our hat in the ring. I am just now starting to get a lot of complex commercial cases, just barely, whereas the men contemporaries, they're falling in their laps. And to me, that says that no matter how much we have progressed as women, and I don't dispute that we have, we're not 100% at the table yet. It's changing, but we're not 100% at the table yet. And what I would like to see is more connecting with us as arbitrators and mediators, but not just amongst ourselves. What about connecting with in-house corporate women counsel, the people who make the decisions about who to hire as a mediator, who to hire as an arbitrator, or connecting with, managing partners, women managing partners of important big law firms, that they're the ones who make the decisions and tell their clients, here's who I recommend to hire. Because that's where the decisions are being made. And that's where I think we're not in the room yet. I'm reminded of the musical Hamilton, for those of you who follow that. You got to get in the room, right? You can't achieve anything unless you're in the room. So I agree with Sarah that at the high level, we're not there yet, but that it's improving. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and then I'm hogging time, so I'll let everybody else have a chance to talk.
Okay, so I'll get Guna in, then we'll come back to you. Yes, Guna, please.
I mean, Janice can finish if she wants to.
No, she says he'll come back. She'll come back. She doesn't want you to feel that she's taking too much time, which obviously right, perfectly all right. She's there. She has an appointment. She can come back after that. Not a problem. She's there. So please.
Right. Thank you. Happy International Women's Day to all my distinguished fellow mediators here on Vikram's panel for this event. And Vikram, thank you very much for hosting us today to celebrate the achievements of women mediators around the world. I think we've got really a good group of mediators from all around the world here. And what I like to say is, like, from Malaysia, I'm from Malaysia. I've been in practice as a mediator for the past 23 years, but I'm also a lawyer. I used to be a litigation lawyer. I still am, because in Malaysia, mediation has not taken off as well as we would have liked it to. And as a litigation lawyer, it's difficult to switch hats, from being a litigation lawyer and then the next day being a mediator. So what I did was to promote mediation in my country. And I've been a practicing lawyer for the past 33 years, but as a mediator for the past 20 years. So my interest in mediation had a kickstart when I did my master's in dispute resolution. And I could never turn back after that. I could not see myself as a litigation lawyer, but I saw myself more as a mediator than a litigation lawyer. And even today, although we do not have as many cases as we would like to have in Malaysia, when I am given a file or a new client comes to me for litigation, my first thought is, can we try and settle this? I'm always putting on my thinking cap as a mediator to try and resolve matters. So this is because I'm so passionate about this subject. Like I'm sure all of you are here, who are sitting here today as well. And the interesting thing is, I try to push forward mediation in my country by actually this started when I started teaching mediation in the university for the master's program in law. And I found that my students were very captivated with the subject. And this included the male gender as well, not only the women, but both. And so this is how my journey on mediation started. And in Malaysia, I'm happy to say that generally there's no divide as such. There's an equal divide actually between men and women mediators. And because we do not have that many cases, so in the Mediation Center, because I'm a lawyer, so I'm affiliated with the Malaysian Mediation Center, which is run by the Bar Council of Malaysia for all lawyers. We have about 230 mediators on the panel, but there's an equal divide between men and women. And the type of cases which come to the center include commercial, family disputes, different categories of dispute. But how cases are given out to mediators on the panel, it's, I would say, based on their expertise, not based on gender. I'm happy to say that. And there's also another organization which I'm paneled on, which is the Asian International Arbitration Center, which also has a mediation unit. And they also conduct mediation, and they also have been promoting MedArb, ArbMed of late. And so far, I have not mediated any cases with AIAC. But with the Malaysian Mediation Center, and recently the government has also promoted, because of COVID, the government has also set up a mediation center to deal with cases or to mediate cases which happened during the COVID lockdown in our country, which was like, I mean, it's on and off, and we're finally reopening our borders in April. The Prime Minister just made an announcement today. And this center is called the Mediation Center for COVID-19 because we have a COVID-19 Act, and cases are distributed. There are about 23 mediators. I'm one of the mediators on this panel. And I must say that it's, once again, no gender bias here, and there has been an equal divide of male and female gender. I also like to highlight that in Malaysia, what has happened is to promote national integrity in our country. What the government has done is to set up a Department of National Unity and Integration, which basically introduced community mediation in 1975, which was a long time ago. So to date, they have trained about 1,000 community mediators. But unfortunately, because earlier I was talking about the private sector in Malaysia, but the government sector, somehow under this program, there seems to be some sort of gender bias here, I must say, because out of the 1,000 mediators, I do not have current statistics, but the statistics for 2017-2018 reflects that the number of female mediators who were trained is 15 out of 100 persons. So there's quite a huge divide here between the male mediators and the female mediators. So I do not know the reason why, but some statistics here are based on which I'm going to share here, is based on some research done by a university student, where she was also trained under this community mediation program as one of the community mediators. And she conducted an interview with 15 female mediators from different states in Malaysia. So this women community mediators actively provide their services in trying to resolve community disputes at the community level and surrounding areas like schools, etc. So the respondents in this survey said that they appreciated the effort of the Malaysian government in empowering women in dispute resolution at the community level. And they also expressed their happiness in being given the opportunity to be trained, and they were so taken by mediation. They were so happy that they've learned this new skill and given the opportunity to contribute their services to their neighborhood areas. So in every state, they had this community mediators. And the number of female mediators, as I said, unfortunately paled in comparison to the male counterparts. So some of the respondents in this survey also shared the female mediators' views. And some of the views are as follows, and they said that the parties where they have mediated actually expressed their concerns that sometimes the community mediation does not have a far-reaching consequence, and it doesn't reach far enough. That was one remark which was made. And the other remark, which is very interesting here, since today is International Women's Day, is that they felt more comfortable with female mediators mediating in certain types of dispute. And to name one of it is the family disputes. And the other type of dispute is sexual harassment and conflict in the office. So they felt more comfortable having female mediators mediate these kind of disputes, and I think understandably so as well. And a large proportion of the disputes referred to ADR, which involve women, relate basically in this community mediation thing, is inheritance, marriage, child custody, and women can be, and like what Sarah said, and I think what Janice said as well, is that women have this gift or intelligence in dealing with these kind of disputes. And my view is that I think that women can be extremely effective in settling, resolving family and community disputes. To support this trend, I believe that, I hope, my fervent hope is that the Malaysian government and stakeholders include ADR training for women in academia, in the legal profession, and in their respective communities. So that is what has been happening in Malaysia. But in the private sector, as I said, there is no apparent biasness as such. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Guna. But if anyone is short of time, just let me know. I'll get you in first. Otherwise, okay, young guys short of time. But Linda, why don't you ask Ruth to join us? She can join the Zoom call.
Hi.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead? Okay.
No, Linda, you're on mute. You're on mute. 1 second, Anka.
Okay. Do you hear me?
We hear you. We hear you. I was just telling Linda, there was Ruth who was saying watching. I was asking her to get her in.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Hi everyone.
Yeah, Linda.
Yes, Ruth had to go, so
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay,
She
okay.
wanted to drop in, but she had to leave.
No, but
So thank you for inviting her.
someone had come in and I'd sent them into the waiting room because the person, I didn't know who the person was. So I don't know whether it was her or not. I don't know. You can just check.
Oh,
Yeah,
It just
Mr.
said user
Vikram,
there.
let
It just
me,
said,
yeah, Mr. Vikram, let me after
yeah, okay.
mom because of the internet and live.
Perfect. So, okay. So you want to go further? Yonka, her in Lebanon, the problem is the electricity. Right now, she has the electricity and the internet connectivity. So
The
please, Lama.
situation here.
Yeah, please. Why don't you? Yonka has some electricity there for some time. Yeah, please, Lama.
Yeah. You would me to start?
Yes,
now?
start. Absolutely.
Okay. Even though I want to say that happy Women's Day for all and for your mom and sisters also of you, Mr. Vikram.
Thank you.
I want to say, see, I want to say that women are the real architects and the backbone of society. She's raising children, she's intervention life principles in their children, minds and thoughts, and she's an idol to their children. We are seeking to empower women and do workshops for advocacy and awareness about their rights, especially about giving nationality to their children here and avoid gender violence. The training we do aims to begin involving women at the local level to acquire mediation skills in order to resolve any conflicts of problems that they have objected to the local level. Workshops aims to develop women's skills in the management of the conflict and is related to UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security, the decision of the Security Council on 31 October 2000. This decision the role of women in preventing and resolving conflicts, peace, negotiations, peace building, speaking, peacekeeping, humanitarian response, and reconstruction in post-conflict post. Resolution 1325 also highlights the importance of women's equality and full participation in all of efforts to maintain and promote peace and security. In the end, I hope safety and safe to all women and the world around the world.
Thank you, Lama.
That's all. Merci. Thank you.
Yes, Yonka.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Yonca Fatma Yücel, come from Turkey. I am a certified mediator, arbitrator, and attorney at law. Firstly, I want to convey my special thanks to Vikram, and I would like to express my pleasure to be part of this special organization and celebrate Happy Women's Day, all of you. Today, by the way, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone. I would like to emphasize that the strengthening and philosophy of women in the mediation based on the Sarah grants. In terms of the importance of women in the mediation, when we look at the attributes of women, a woman plays a natural mediator, not only being a mother, including lots of compassion in her home, but also defending her business, a successful manager in her firm, or very well-known leader in her society. In other words, genetic codes work on behalf of women. Moreover, Muslims refer to the consecrated hands of Fatima. And Rumi, who is the famous Turkish philosopher, adopted this holy description and says that woman is the light of God. In addition, about mentioned terms, I would like to say a beautiful mind, which the Vikram emphasized many times, accompanies of a beautiful soul. under different beliefs. From those point of views, women accredited or certified mediator can ensure to build trust between parties and help to eliminate unconscious bias between both parties and advocates and towards the mediation process via her attributes and insight power easily. Considering how we can reach beautiful soul, healing soul is as much as precious than the healing mind in the mediation. That's why, in virtue of both healing soul and mind, adding to gentle touching of women to the problems can resolve the lacks in the communication between the parties and bring flexibility in the negotiation during the mediation, regardless of family, workload, or commercial disputes. Those phenomena are naturally questionable, but serve special aims which gathers disputant parties for reaching conciliation. In order to grab the harmony and peace in the world against war, peacemaking is the most important role, especially in ethnic and diplomatic mediation. Therefore, I want respectfully to commemorate Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, who is the founder of Turkish Republic, provided the advanced civil rights, such as rights of education, voting, and being elected for Turkish women. And let me share two proverbs cited by him respectively: peace at home and peace in the world. And everything we see on earth is the work of women for highlighting the role of women during the peacemaking activities. Compliance with those concepts, Turkish women mediators move forward with flag and of peace and harmony, based on both values and the ideals of Atatürk, and inspired tendency to mediation from their roots in both national and international areas. In summary, more women, more peace and conciliation will bring into the world. Those are the points which came to my mind quickly regarding women in the mediation. But before I end up my words, I want to dedicate proverb of Rumi to all fellow mediators and peacemakers. He says that I love my friend, neither with my heart nor with my mind. If it happens, heart stops or mind forgets, I love my friends with my soul that never stops, never forgets. Kindly regards.
So nice, Yonga. Thank you very much. So now, anyone else is short of time, please let me know. Gabriela, yes, Gabriela, please.
Hi, good morning. In Brazil, it's kind of the end of the morning. To all of you, I'm happy to see some faces that I learned to love. And before anything else, I would like to thank the men, sensible men that brought us here together. Although I have been working a lot with women subjects, I have been invited to teach negotiation and mediation to in-house trainings in companies where women are still minority, at least in the higher levels of the hierarchy. And it was interesting that one of these corporations that never had a woman as a director had one last year on Women's Day of last year. She inaugurated her upper level career in that company. It's a company full of engineers, very masculine oriented. And she gave as a gift to all of her women mates in the company this training to empower them so that they can negotiate a better life among everybody, not only women, but also men. And I was preparing this material and thinking how interdependent we really are. I really do not believe that any group of people, any group of beings can be successful alone. Our main connection is through the understanding of our interdependency, although being independent. So we have to balance these two extreme roles in any society. And I think those who can more are more responsible. Those who have the wider view can start a movement of becoming one. And I believe women have a wider view, not because we are better, but just because we were trained throughout human history to pay attention to many things at the same time, starting with children. I only have one, and it's a lot of attention that she requires. But since the beginning of times, females in every species were in charge of looking after a lot of people without the power to take care of themselves at the same time. So we have a broader view because we trained. And men have this more focused view because they also trained, because they couldn't be dispersive while chasing an animal that everybody would eat from. So it's all a matter of understanding our complementarity. And I love saying that. And I also wanted to refer to Lama because I'm also Lebanese. And I am Lebanese because I come from a line of a great-grandfather, a grandfather, and a father who were Lebanese. So I asked to be recognized as a Lebanese. I cannot pass my nationality to my daughter, the Brazilian, of course, but not the Lebanese. And my daughter gets very mad when we talk about this because she wants to be Lebanese as well. And I always tell her that I believe that this generation will change things and allow women to pass on the nationality. But most important of all this story is that my great-grandfather could only come to Brazil in 1888 because he had a very strong and courageous mother who put him in a ship so that he could live. And she gave him everything she had so that he could pass life on. And she gave him some golden coins, telling him that this was his ticket back to Lebanon. And he never made it back to Lebanon because probably when he made enough money to be able to go back, she was not there anymore. And I was the first one to go back in honor to this woman who was strong enough to pass life along throughout the continents. So it always starts with a woman, just because we are more trained to put love into play and to put love above us and to see us as part of something bigger and responsible for also the education that men will get in order to pass life along. And many times here in Brazil, I never felt directly as a professional a lot of prejudice. But when I started to work with disadvantaged communities, I really saw that their reality is completely different and still very, very, very unbalanced. And we still have that structural, how do I say that, chauvinism, that is very between the lines everywhere. And we are not just aware of it because we were born in that situation. So it's hard to be aware of something that you have always been there. And once I started getting in touch with this reality that before was just, I didn't realize it, although it was there. And I decided to exercise more this tentative dialogue between the man and the woman that I have inside, because we all have. I started to not get very mad at it. And so I could deal better with it. And once we are more tuned into this need of making ourselves stronger, of helping each other, like many of you said before, if we are able to give a chance to a man or to a woman, what will we choose? I would say that first we have to choose the one that is more adequate to the task. But if on equal situations, of course, I would give an opportunity to the woman, just because in general, she will have less chances. So it's a matter of balance, not a matter of being in favor of one against the other. And just to finalize here, I still believe that we have a lot to give, just because we were trained to be stronger no matter what, and to be resilient, and to love the man that we bring to earth. And it's in their benefit that we have to be strong women, successful women, well-resolved women, giving the example that they also have to respect their future wives, their future companions, and so on and so forth. Because it always starts with the inner image that men have and that women have, and the unbalance that has been real throughout history. But now that we are aware of it, we can change it. We couldn't change it before because we were not aware, and because we didn't have a voice, of course. So now we have the voice, and we have more responsibility, and we are more aware. So I really believe that our generation is making a difference. And I would like to show you my little woman here. She's a little shy. Come on, vem minha filha.
That's going to take a lot of convincing, Gabriela. That's going to take a lot. Hello.
She is my best.
Please, all of you have to unmute yourself and say hi to her. You can't just say, just wave, just say hi to her.
Hello.
Call her, Gabriela.
Hola.
Hi.
Merhaba.
Hello.
Imagine such nice hellos she's got. You've said her all. Okay. But
Thank
anyone,
you.
tell me, anyone short of time, please tell me. Okay. Otherwise I'll get them on my whatever. I'll just balance the time zone, because like the only thing is, Kathy, that's a little controversial. So-called Canada. For today, let's call it Canada. Let's concentrate on the women today. Okay. So you want to come in? Yeah. Kathy is also at early morning.
I think Linda wanted to go, so Linda,
Anyone?
I don't need to go. I'm up. I'm
Perfect. Yeah, Linda, please. But Kathy, can we make that
Oh,
Canada
no,
today?
I didn't want to go. I was saying hello, but I mean, if you want me to go, I will.
Please, Linda, please. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but let me just check with Kathy if I can change that to Canada, because for the moment I just don't like that so-called Canada there. And Kathy, for today, let it be Canada. Just for today. Tomorrow we'll change it. Okay.
nope.
Okay. Yeah, Linda, please.
Okay. I am not a mediator, but my husband is, and I am a filmmaker doing a film on mediation around the world, and the incredible women. I'm always inspired by the incredible women that are a part of this film. First of all, to do it internationally in a lot of countries that women don't have equal rights, I find that these women are so resilient. So I really admire that, and I like to capture that. And it somehow has changed my filmmaking to, I'm doing some other projects based on women doing incredible things, or based on also women inequality and exposing that. But more the stories of what these women are going through, the resilience in which women are very resilient. We are, as Gabriela says, we are raising our children. We have, these duties that we have been thrown into. We're taking care of our men as well. I mean, that right there is is huge. I know my husband is very demanding on me, but he's also demanded around the world. So it actually comes to home. Everyone's pulling on him outside. He brings it home, and we have to take care of him and yet take care of ourselves and our children. So I get what we're going through, and I want to tell those stories that give women a little more credit for what they're doing, and also give them hope and a voice. So I've been really, right now I'm working on doing more healing work and helping these women have a voice along with mediation, For instance, we're working on some countries like India. India is one of my hopeful countries, Rwanda, and in Mexico. And I actually have two of my girlfriends here joining us, Karen Westerman and Patricia. I don't know if Patricia is still here, but oh, there's Patricia. Yeah, they are doing the same thing in Mexico, more on a healing level, doing the internal work, or communication work, or having women fully embody it through, first of all, healing themselves so that they can heal the world. And they're taking it out in the world. For instance, Karen is working with the prisons, helping the prisoners there, teaching them body work and yoga and breath work to get into their body. Patricia is working with the children. So I think right now where we are is we are bringing up another generation differently. And it's important that we all join together. And mediation, communication is such an important skill, whether it's on a business level, whether it's in our home, but coming from ourselves fully and embodying that, that's the most important thing right now. And that is what I hope to share in this world and support other women, especially women in mediation, because I know how challenging it is on a business level. And you are just now being given that opportunity. I was just having this conversation with Danny that with my husband, who is a mediator. He really hopes that women can also compete in the business world. Right now, women have broken the barriers in mediation on a personal level, on more personal mediations, business, but not like government, banking. So he's really hoping to support that. And I'm hoping to tell those stories. So I admire you all. Happy Women's Day. Love seeing you all here and expressing yourselves fully and breaking barriers and overcoming all these boundaries and barriers that are holding you back. So thank you. Thank you for having me, Vikram.
Thank you, Linda. And of course, you come in later after everyone finishes. You can all take rounds. Let me just get everyone in a little bit. So Elizabetha is on the time zone aspect. You, I think, are the latest, right? At the 10th, I think what 10 o'clock or something there. So if you want to come in, please.
Thank you, Vikram. Hello to anyone. It's a happy Women's Day today. And I want to tell you that I am a lawyer and I'm a mediator from Russia and from Altai territory. It is far alone from our central part of country. That's why, of course, for me, really hard to speak about all the country. And that's why I can share with you the things which I'm thinking about. I think that the first what I want to say is that in Russia, to my mind, the original meaning of this day of age of the March, it is lost today. Because usually when men congratulate us, they told us about this day as about day of beauty and spring. And of course, it's pleasant for us, but I think what we must remember, what does it mean for women? And I think it is connected with that women have long occupied already a role in society and in our country and on equal basis with the men. But also, of course, there are maybe some problems that women still often not hold high positions, and we are working maybe with problems not on the higher level. And when I'm looking on my colleagues in Russia, I see that most of mediators are women. And if you will look for some other professions when which helps to people, for example, for psychologists in Russia here, it's a lot of women too. And maybe there are a lot of men at the stage of mediation training, but when I look for practicing mediators around, I see maybe only one man and 10 women. Perhaps the situation is different, maybe in central regions of Russia from small ones, because our country is large, but in my region, now I see only one practicing mediator and 15 women in my city. And of course, the number maybe differs depending on different categories of cases, because men usually works with business mediation, but women prefer to help in family disputes, or also we are trying to help children in school conflicts, and women are ready to work with prisoners to help them. And I see that, in my opinion, it is very important that there may be is a female veil in the world. And I believe that the difference between a woman's way and the man's vision is that a woman can take into account the emotions and feelings of other people more strongly. And I think it helps women to take into account for long-term interests of people. And of course, men have such important ability as to achieve goals or to go strong and fast way, and it helps us to change the situation fastly. But it seems to me that a woman's point of view is very important in matters of preserving peace. And now I feel it's very, very important for me in the situation which I see now.
Thank you, Ellie. The only thing is that, of course, at any point of time, you could have broken into Russian, no problem. Rosanna is there, she would have translated, because I'm with all these good thoughts coming in English when it's not your first language. Imagine if you were talking in Russian, how much better it would have been. So thank you very much. So in terms of time, I'm going by time zone now. Okay, no one's said they have to leave. So Rosanna, please, you want to come in? Rosanna is in Kazakhstan. That KZ is Kazakhstan.
Yes, this is Kazakhstan. Thank you, dear Vikram. As usual, thank you very much that you join in all these people. And I want to I want to say Happy Women's Day to everyone, to each of these beautiful ladies that I see on my screen. And I'm so happy to have the chance to see them, to hear their thoughts. And while I've been listening to them, I understood that our thoughts are very alike, and we think, we think the same way. And Elizaveta was, told us about Russia, and I want to say that we are very close to Russian practice, and the situation is practically the same here in Kazakhstan. And I want to say that I don't think that in Kazakhstan women are not allowed to hold high positions or so. I work in working groups in parliament, and I see a lot of women there too, and in different high positions everywhere. At the same time, it is difficult for me to analyze, because I live in the capital of the country, and women are more emancipated here. I think that the situation in countryside is different, and our society is still more patriarchal. And women are still more family oriented here in Kazakhstan than career oriented. And I think that in the provinces, women earn less and occupy high positions less than here in the capital. But as speaking about mediators, I want to say that among mediators, we definitely have more women. Although we haven't conducted a study yet, but I believe and I see among my colleagues, and we have a lot of organizations of mediators, and most of them filled with women. So I think that the reason is that women are more accommodating themselves and less, women less conflicted by nature, more tolerant. This is just their nature. I think so. And this is because here in Kazakhstan and in Russia also, Elizaveta said, women, we have a lot of women among mediators. And in mediation, it is important to be responsive. So women are responsive by nature, usually. not all of them, of course. So if speaking about women in mediation, and also about payment, I agree that mediators here in Kazakhstan and in Russia too, I know their situation, they're less paid. And this is, I think this is not the problem of women, but the problem of maybe economical issues. And also mediation here started only, here in Kazakhstan, it started only 11 years ago. So our society, doesn't equate it with mediation. And when we say when I say I'm a mediator, a lot of people ask me, do I do yoga or do I play the guitar? What is mediator? Are you meditating or something like that? And I think that for our countries, maybe former Soviet Union countries, this problem is, is much more serious than problem of women in mediation or women taking a high position or something like that. The mediation is not popular itself here in our countries. This is a problem. And of course, we are less paid. And I agree with the woman who were speaking, the second woman, I don't see her here on the screen, from USA. She was telling a thing about the value. I totally agree that the more we value ourselves, the more we cost, should I say like this? Sorry for my English. So, I do believe that if we value ourselves a lot, then people around us also value us, and they're ready to pay more. So it's like this here in Kazakhstan. What can I say else about it? Maybe I will add something later.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So, Prerna, is it getting late for you? You want to come in?
Good evening, Vikram, and a big hello to all women. It's a great day, I think, for each one of us to celebrate in our own special way. And thank you for having invited me on this panel, Vikram. I will just make it very short and brief. I am actually a founding senior partner of a law firm in India. And I also happen to be connected to a few institutions and one of the high courts of India. And very much proud of our country and the way we are taking mediation forward. In fact, if you look at India, just to give you how it we consider that women a form, of course, it's a form of human divinity, but our goddess of learning is also a feminine energy by the name of Ma Saraswati. And we've been traditionally considered as strong, powerful, and invincible. Actually, if you also look at the form of Shiva, I mean, he's a masculine energy, but he takes the form of Ardhinareshwara, which means it's a balance between the feminine and the masculine energies. And the qualities, if both imbibe together, not only bring a balance, but a life of fulfillment. And this is a force to reckon with. Of course, it's a special day, and it is necessary that we women celebrate it. And the achievements, by far, I'm sure each one in their own capacity has done well. And we are making the world a better place. And fortunately, women are rising. Each day, they're becoming stronger. And thankfully, to the inborn soft skills that we have, we are building rapport with others. And as mediators, we have in fact, I would say, it comes very naturally because we are most of the times multitasking. So in that, we have the effective listening skills. We are able to build trust, empathy, facilitate dialogue, be impartial, all the necessary ingredients for a mediator, which come more or less naturally to us. So the long and short of it, I'd like to say that, of course, having faith in the qualities that we have, not everybody may be born to be a mediator. But yes, if you have these skills, then certainly mediation is a forum for you to step into. Secondly, I'd also like to say that world has become a very lonely place, for some of us. And for people who are not heard and who are in conflict and in dispute, I think this is one forum where we are able to provide them a place where they are going to be listened to. And naturally, the healing process begins when they are heard. So I think there's a lot of job in hand for us mediators, and patience, of course, perseverance and persuasion. These are the skills that will obviously enhance, the capacity for each one of us to actually bring some peace and harmony. And in fact, I think not only that, the strengths with which we are born, we also need to understand this. Yes, there are certain areas which need to be worked upon, because ultimately, if you see, there is lack of awareness vis-a-vis mediation. I mean, look at the grassroots. India is a huge, diverse country. And it is, I mean, the fact that the infrastructure needs to be in place. The mindset of people, probably they're too rigid. So there has to be some flexibility on that. So I think 3 areas which we could actually work upon and make it a more fulfilling aspect would be that create more awareness, building more infrastructure, and of course, changing of the mindset. Because in India, we actually are, looking up to mediation. As I mentioned, it is getting a huge boost from the judiciary. And we have court annex centers in most of the high courts, the lower courts. And as a result, a lot of, it's providing a lot of backup to litigation, because the courts are overburdened with a lot of litigants having to face the pain of unlimited time in courts, wasting time there. So mediation is a big boost to each one. So I mean, because we are all most of us are mediators here, I think we are strongly proposing that through our interactions and through our experiences, we are able to understand the cultural aspect also, because each party, each person sitting before us has a culture and, I would say history behind. So that also becomes very important. Well, coming to a personal thought, which I'd like to share, that at times, yes, there is a huge advantage vis-a-vis gender here, because we have had parties in mediation wherein the women have come from backgrounds where they are not very receptive to sitting down with male mediators and able to, share their confidential information. So that comfort when we mediators as women are present, they kind of become more relaxed and easy. And the trust building is much more women to women. And of course, that is again because of conditioning in certain areas of our country. And that is a huge plus. And I mean, of course, co-mediation as it is stands to really provide a lot vis-a-vis the language barricade or the culture one. And as I said, the gender. So this is one thing I wanted to share, that yes, where certain societies where the women are not feeling as free with a male mediator, the fact that there's a lady mediator sitting, it gives them a lot of comfort and they feel less threatened. So yeah, this is what I wanted to share, and I am really grateful that through everybody's experiences and inputs, I am getting to learn, and we'll all keep in touch, hopefully, and kind of make this globe a better place. And being Women's Day, I wish each one of you and your family and all the members the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prerna. Okay, so Sarah is getting a little late. So please, Sarah, you want to give us a little what? It's not concluding for us, but concluding for you. What is the concluding remarks that you want to give us?
Thank you. I do have to get up very early in the morning, so I appreciate me jumping in. I am so excited to listen to you all. It's humbling, it's inspiring, and I want to encourage all of you and all of us to really connect and nurture what we do together, because change won't happen in isolation. We need to share our stories, we need to celebrate the lessons we've learned, and we've got to uplift each other any chance we get. So stalk me on LinkedIn, on Facebook. If I can ever help you, please reach out, because I'm more than happy to help lift you all up as well. So thank you.
Perfect. Well, otherwise, Sarah, I would have wanted you to, of course, everyone has to give their views. Otherwise, I would have wanted you to tell us about the indigenous communities when you deal with them. It's not just about the fact of mediators. It's actually in the mediation, the parties, the voice, do they have a voice or not? All that aspect also I wanted to cover, but I know it's short and we'll have another discussion maybe on that. So
we can do that another time,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming in. So I'll go again by the time zones then. So Loretta is, of course, Indrani after that. You're okay? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Loretta.
Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us from. Happy International Women's Day. I'm delighted to be here with everyone here. Thank you so much, Mr. Vikram, for giving me this opportunity. I've been learning from a lot of wonderful women here, and I'm glad to have met so many of you. I know you are more experienced than I am, and I'm actually learning, but I'm just going to talk about myself and my journey through mediation and the challenges we are experiencing here. So my name is Loretta Anase Kiagba, and I'm an attorney mediator. I graduated from law school several years ago, and litigation was kind of difficult for me because the conditions surrounding the court systems were not really conducive. I had this one incident that stood out for me, the one that rocked the boat. I went to court on that day, and we had SANS, Senior Advocates of Nigeria here. They usually have like their time before us in court. And on that day, it was my first time actually, and I didn't know. We spent about 8 hours in court, and nothing happened. And the judge was apologizing to us because he figured we're newbies. That's what they call young lawyers here. We're newbies, and he apologized for the time and everything. He explained that, of course, those are the challenges we face in law when we encounter some of these things. So it should just be like a learning process for everybody. And I told myself, this was not the law I saw on television. This was not what I saw people around me practice, my mom, my uncles, cousins and friends. And it wasn't something I was going to, give my whole attention there, and other challenges as well. So I started researching online. I went on LinkedIn, I went on Facebook, I went on Instagram. I started looking for other areas in law where I could, specialize in. And I came across alternative dispute resolution. And then I started reading. And then mediation caught my attention. But then I didn't find any mentor in mediation to, pull me through anything or answer all the questions I was asking. I checked online. The information there was basically from the US, the UK, Canada, from different countries. I didn't really find anything in Nigeria until I came across Fola Alade on Instagram. I'm sure most of you here, Fola Alade. And I sent him a message. I told him I was a young lawyer, looking for direction, and I had interest in mediation, and I was looking for someone to pull me through. And he said, "Oh, that's nice." And then he gave me guidance. I enrolled in the academy, and I met Vikram actually from that academy, So he too was one of my mentors, and that was how they mentored me until I was able to launch my dispute resolution firm last year. Yeah, last year around April. Yeah, by April this year, it should be like a year. So I'm still learning new skills, and the challenges we are facing here basically are that young mediators are not really given the chance to showcase their skills. So since I was not given like a seat at the table because I was not that qualified to be there, I had to build my own table by launching my own firm where I gave myself opportunity to grow. I've been learning from so many webinars, from Vikram's trainings, from Fola's trainings. I've attended over like 100 webinars in just a year. And I've learned from young, old, middle class people everywhere, and I've acquired those skills right now. And at a point, it was more like, oh, mediation, there is no money, because in mediation, in Nigeria, if you're practicing mediation, you have to be passionate about it, because the money is not really there. And as a young person, you're looking for a career that can foot your bills and help you grow. And if you are depending only on mediation, that may not work. That's why you find people in Nigeria practice mediation and also litigation or arbitration. You cannot just say, oh, you are doing that alone, except you are retiring from litigation and arbitration, or you are doing everything side by side. So what I did was I started taking courses in project management, because I have transferable skills I can easily transfer to project management and everything. Then I found this community there where I discovered a lot of people don't know anything about mediation. So what I'm doing there right now, I'm trying to, tell women and other people around the community the importance of mediation and how to save relationship and, invest in healthy relationship by always keeping disputes within the circle, trying to have a dialogue, because most of the issues we have are like as a result of bad communication. And with the help of emotional intelligence, we've been able to, curtail a lot of conflicts. The issues are there, I won't deny that, because year in, year out, we talk about women deserving on a table and a seat at the table. But this year, I've noticed that women are now building tables. We are not just waiting for the men to give us a seat at the table. We are not sitting down at home for things to be handed over to us. We are learning to go out there and be visible, because if you are not out there, nobody is going to see that you are capable of doing these things. It's very easy for us to say, oh, we need to be included in so many things. But if we say all of that and then we go back home and we don't even work on it at all, it's going to be very difficult. And that's why a lot of women are coming out these days, even in mediation. The trainings I've had for the past 6 months, and surprisingly, I've had more than 10 women trainers. And that's a very commendable statistics, because in time past, we're only seeing men. Women were shy, they were not visible. They thought the whole mediation process was all about the men, because most times you walk into a mediation session and maybe someone comes to you and they're asking you, do you have a man in your organization? I would like to talk to a man. The issues I have, I cannot discuss them with a woman. And then you're asking yourself, I'm a trained mediator. I have, the qualifications to take up on this conflict. I can help you resolve that. And they tell you, I trust a man. A man will understand my points of view. You as a woman may judge me, maybe because you are biased, especially in family disputes, because the men don't like it when women try to resolve these disputes for them, because they tell you are going to side a woman, you are going to side your counterpart, So it's kind of really difficult, but with the help of technology these days, people are beginning to see that women are professionals. They are beyond the tag of, oh, you belong to the kitchen, you belong to the home and everything. There have been a lot of debate around, like just recently, a bill was rejected at the National Assembly in Nigeria here, where women asked that they should be included in, just a fraction of the percentage they have in politics and other government parastatals. And the bill was rejected. Right now, as we speak, women are protesting in Abuja, in the capital city, for their rights, for that bill to be, visited again. Because as someone mentioned something here about the husband, like, okay, for example, if I get married to a foreigner who is not from my country, that person cannot become a citizen of Nigeria. But if a man gets married to someone from another country, automatically you become a citizen of Nigeria. So we are also fighting for rights where women can also be included, in these policies, where we can easily, bring our husbands to also become citizens when we get married to them. Sorry about that. My daughter is here disturbing. These are some of the issues we face.
That's not an issue. That's a good issue, Loretta. That's a good issue. You should get your good issue here. Let us say hi to your good issue.
Yeah, my good issue is here to disturb. So the thing is, most times we experience these things and we don't know how to navigate it, but it's good that we are beginning to speak. Sorry about that. We are beginning to be visible, and I'll come back again. Let me attend to her. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah. So what I wanted to do was, Gabriela, Mary is here. Mary is, of course, speaks in Spanish only, so you could help her. Obviously, there are other people who might do it also. So Mary, you want to tell us something about your feelings on mediation and women?
Hola, buenas tardes. Agradezco la invitación de Vikram. No hablo inglés. Sí estoy entendiendo lo que están hablando y mi mensaje es un mensaje de paz y de construcción. Veo aquí mujeres de distintos países que tenemos diferentes.
Mary, un momento. ¿Quieres que yo traduzca para inglés? Eso que Vikram me ha pedido. she said she's here. She's very happy to be here with us. She can follow in English, although she cannot speak in English. And her message is one of peace. So, cuando hablas, por favor, me da un tiempo para poder traducir. ¿Ok?
Ok. Veo a todas las mujeres de diferentes países que están hoy aquí.
She sees all the women from different countries that are here today.
Sé que cada una tenemos diferentes realidades en nuestros países.
She knows that we all have a different reality in each country.
Sin embargo, creo que a través de todos estos encuentros y de esta unión,
So she understands that throughout all these meetings and all this union that we're forming,
podemos ayudarnos y colaborar en cada uno de estos países.
we can help each other and collaborate in each of these countries.
Porque al ser cada realidad diferente, los problemas que atravesamos las mujeres son diferentes.
So because since we have different realities, the problems that we face as women are also different.
Más allá del idioma, aquí estamos para conmemorar este día y defender nuestros derechos como mujeres.
So beyond the languages, we're all here to celebrate our day and our rights and our differences as well.
Así que ese es mi gran mensaje de unión, colaboración a través de las conversaciones, de la mediación y de todos los métodos que puedan lograr esa ayuda en común.
So this is my main message, that we be united, we collaborate with each other through mediation and all these conversations that we are building together.
Y bueno, les comento que por Facebook soy amiga de muchas de las mujeres que están acá, con las cuales me comunico haciendo la traducción. Y es maravilloso igual.
So she said that through Facebook, on Facebook, she is friends with a lot of us. And since they have the translation there, it makes it easier, and it's always great.
Yeah, she's the queen of Facebook. She has some group which has some 6,500 people on that group or something like that. It's the mediation in Argentina. So she's there. That's what she's good at. That's why she's supposed to, it doesn't even speak fast now. She thinks everything is like on, she's going to type it out and do it. So Mary, you'll have to also start speaking to us in English now.
¿Comprendiste? ¿Quiere que yo traduzca?
Habla muy rápido, Vikram. Siempre le digo eso.
Él ha dicho que es la mujer de Facebook, que tiene más de 600 seguidores y que lo hace muy rápido, pero ahora tienes que hacerlo en inglés también.
Sí, somos 7.300 miembros de todos los países y también le digo a Vikram que él tiene que aprender español.
So she said they are 7,300 members from all countries, and that you must also speak Spanish, Vikram.
Yes, definitely. It's just happening. Just after the Russian. After the Russian, next is Spanish. It's all happening.
Okay.
Of course, Turkish also. We have to pick up Turkish also. So Dal is also. You have to pick up Turkish also. Yeah.
Él va a hablar todas las lenguas que hablamos. Pronto. La próxima vida, probablemente. Next life, Vikram.
Give me a longer life to do it. Why not a longer life to do all that? Why do you want to? Okay.
Lo comprometo.
Okay, so Mary, thank you very much.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank
Un
you.
abrazo.
So let me now just get in.
Gracias, Gabriela.
And thank you, Gabriela, for translating. If you want, I mean, if you think you need to get out, please do that. But thank you very much for the translation. So, Indrani, please.
Thank you, Vikram. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all around the world. And I want to wish you all a very happy Women's Day. Thank you, Vikram, as always, for arranging to bring us together. I've been listening very, eagerly to all my colleagues around the world who have pretty much articulated a similar challenge that we face as women practitioners. So a little background about myself. I run a practice in mediation and arbitration. I have been in self-employment mostly in the field of mediation in South Africa now, and around, outside South Africa in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. Running this practice in arbitration and mediation for around 24 years. I don't do too many arbitrations, but I am an internationally accredited arbitrator with the RICS. And when I do get a placement, it's a token placement in a tribunal, because obviously the industry, as I think it was Sarah who articulated that, and also a few of you, but Sarah and Janice pretty much put it very succinctly in that there's a monopoly in South Africa or in the African continent, particularly here, because of our historical challenges as well. We have the pale, grey, and stale who are monopolizing the industry in regards to arbitrations, and who earn the most fees for the application of these skills, which are very, very applicable to women as well. So unfortunately, I think that's here to stay for at least another 15 to 20 years. But the encouraging thing is there are more and more women coming into the ADR on mainstream, but certainly very disparate, because in addition to the challenge of the arbitration side, in mediations, mostly in this country, we have to belong to panels. So we impaneled, whether it's in land or civil or commercial disputes. And clearly, ultimately, the client gets to make an appointment on the parties rather, but it is administrated by a body which there's that additional layer or dynamic that we have to face in this country, which is racism. So although we're into post-apartheid after many years, there is that very subtle dynamic at play, which makes it that much more difficult for particularly self-employed practitioners who have that additional layer of challenge in terms of application. So it is changing, but I experienced it most recently as a very seasoned practitioner and respected practitioner belonging to many panels, not just in South Africa, but beyond, where I was marginalized in a placement to a woman of another race group in terms of us having allocations to be I think it was Zoom, mediating and coaching and training. So it's very, very prevalent. So, but I'm also always optimistic, and because I'm passionate in my application, I consider my practice and my work to be a calling. So the fees follow me. In other words, after I do my work, I'm because of the sustainable agreements and the ability as a woman to be, as many of you have alluded to, to have that additional empathy and soft skills, yet the tenacity to push forward and ensure that we're able to have breakthrough and bring parties to middle ground. And clearly the kind of interventions that I think a lot of us are making the inroads in as women is that our agreements, our settlement agreements, are sustainable. So the other encouraging aspect of my work is that I lecture to university students in ADR, broad-based, but particularly in mediation and arbitration. And like one of the other esteemed speakers alluded to, I think it was Prerna. No, it was the lady from Malaysia, Gunawati. Yeah, so it's a similar thing where we're impacting young minds and we're having a transformative shifting in their thinking about mediation as a preferred mechanisms to address and redress disputes very expeditiously. So in South Africa, we have legislation which actually promotes mediation as a first port in addressing or redressing because of the court role and the burdens upon the legal system. But a lot of lawyers see mediation or ADR in general as alarming drop in revenue. So you don't have that buy-in, whether it's men or women, but mostly I think it's the perception that, you know, mediation is going to take money away. But I have shown many people that it's far from that, because by you doing expeditious settlements from entrenched positions to finding interests and needs with parties that obviously preserve those relationships, we are promoting ourselves inadvertently, and obviously word gets around, because you cannot, especially down here, I cannot go and advertise in the paper and say I'm looking for work. So it comes from word of mouth referral, and obviously where you get invited to sit on more and more panels. So, you know, the university is a good platform to promote that. I'm also very honored to be affiliated with the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, who are built environment regulators that have a very, you know, focused dispute resolution department, and they're throughout the world. So I train adults in commercial and evaluative mediation for them, particularly for built environment and construction disputes. So I was able to find in that space that also there's disparity in application of the lead trainer. The men always get the first bite, if I can put it that way. And it's very disillusioning, of course, because you're fighting an uphill battle. And because I'm optimistic and positive, I always hope that, you know, this will sort of balance itself out. So the monopoly is certainly there. It's patriarchal, as I've alluded to. And in my land work, it's tribalistic as well, where in addition to having all these components with the men getting, you know, marginalizing you, if they see a woman coming in to preside on a mediation, you've already got to challenge before you even open your mouth. But after I get going through an interpreter, it's very, again, heartwarming to see that there's acceptance. But because it's tribalistic, you have chiefs and you have tribes, that tribal heads and so on, who can destabilize the work that you do on the ground once you leave your intervention, because here the mediations happen sitting on paint drums under trees, or sitting on the grass in an open felt. So it's not quite your, you know, Western application to these interventions, particularly in rural communities. Having said that, I must say that it is really wonderful. I don't want to hog up a lot of time, because I can see we're going for beyond an hour now. But in essence, like I've said, it's very heartwarming to see the level of you know, application and communication and interest that each of you have put out today. And I pray that we can potentially advocate to have International Women's Day as a public holiday, so that we can push for peace on that day in a more, you know, concentrated manner and worldwide make a difference, because certainly as we see what's going on around us, if we can all in our own countries use that particular day to do pro bono work or workshops and training with children and young adults, I think it would be wonderful. So if any of you know politicians who can push for this kind of public holiday, that would also be awesome. So I think, Vikram, I have said everything that I wanted to say this afternoon, and thank you so much again for organizing it. I'm going to sit in the background and listen to you guys in the kitchen whilst I get dinner going in a short while. So thanks so much for the opportunity.
Indrani, this can't be all that you have to say this afternoon. There's lots more that you want to say, but yes, you're being polite, so you don't want to hog the limelight. Yes, I understand. But we're not going to wait for the politicians to do anything. Next International Women's Day, everyone's going to take a day off, and we're only going to be on Zoom, and everyone will come and give their views on that. We won't do anything else.
I love that, but may I suggest that we don't just stay online and potentially take it to on the ground, because online to a large extent distorts the whole, and one hopes by then that we'll have more, COVID will be completely out of our doors, etc. But thank you, Vikram.
All right. So now only thing is that we, Kathy, Karen, Lisa, you guys are still in the morning. So let me get Andrea in. She's been, where is she? Yeah, there she is. Andrea, if you're okay, anyone wants to leave or something, just let me know. I'll get you in earlier. But Andrea's been patiently waiting there. Yes, Andrea.
I'm fascinated listening to everybody, and I'm not going to take up too much time, because so much of what I suppose all of us has to say echoes what all of our beliefs are, because we're coming from the same foundations. I suppose we all want to make a difference and have mediation as the core of kind of dispute resolution. I suppose for those of you that don't know me, I'm from Ireland and I'm a mediator. And Vikram has very kindly invited me on numerous of times, and we've had some fascinating conversations. And so I thank him for allowing us this opportunity to connect together as women. But I suppose also as a community of mediators, where, this year's International Women's Day was about removing the bias. And I think there's a danger when we group together, even though it is International Women's Day, as just women, that we change to a them and an us. And I don't think it is them and us. I think there's a lot of things that have to change because of the experiences we've had or the societies we've grown up in. But, I've been very fortunate in my life that I've had great men behind me, and, I've raised one beautiful young man. So I think really for me, the message I want to get across is mediation, beside it being our profession and what we do on a daily basis. We all understand those struggles. We all know how hard it is to get a business up and running. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have as women is our own bias against ourselves. And sometimes we don't realize that the life experience we built up, whether that's working in a profession or working in the home or working with your community or just generally being a human being, is huge. And that experience is part of what we bring to mediation. And I think we underestimate those skills and that learning that we've learned along the way. And we have to recognize that in ourselves and actually go, to see the value in ourselves first. And I think when we see our own value and become aware of our own bias against ourselves, that it's easier for us to stand up in that room or knock on that door that we want to get into, because we come to the realization that we've as much right to be there as anybody else. When I was preparing a little bit for this, I was reminded of, I have a nearly 16-year-old daughter. And when she was 11 years of age, she read something in the newspaper where she realized that men earned more than women. And she was absolutely horrified. But her first port of call was actually to reach out to all her aunties and uncles and everything else and ask them, did they know this was happening? And then she went back and she wrote an article and she submitted it to a newspaper. So I suppose in that way, she empowered herself to call out the difference that was there and the inequality that was there. And I think that's what's important for us as women, to empower ourselves to call out differences, to, you know, educate our sons, to educate society. And by, there is an argument that we shouldn't have to educate people, but biases and belief systems are built up over generations. So we can't change them because that's the way it should be. So we have to provide an element of education and, you know, I suppose belief in ourselves to kind of stand up to the forum and say, we're here, we can do just as good a job as you, and let's do it together. Because I suppose if we take into account over, you know, what's happened in the world over the last 2 years with COVID, with Ukraine, with everything else, one thing that we've learned is, you know, people are people, regardless of their gender or their background or their belief system. And if anything, I suppose what I've learned in the last while is it's that connection. It's like when we looked at, was it, who did the translation first? The lovely girl from Brazil who is Lebanese descent.
Gabriela.
The way Gabrielle stepped in there to help Mary, instant connection, because she knew somebody was struggling and they needed help. And I think that's what we are as mediators. It's in our being, and it's stepping in when help needs to be there, and I suppose supporting each other. So I thank you, Vikram. I thank you to all these brilliant, strong, intelligent women. And I think, you know, the world is definitely in a safer place if this is what's, you know, rearing the next generation, or educating the next generation, or providing the, you know, leading the next generation, or being involved in policy making for the next generation. I think we're definitely heading in the right direction. So I suppose that's my little spiel. As regards kind of Ireland and the profession of mediation, interestingly enough, I'm involved with the MII, which is the Mediators Institute of Ireland. And I asked them to give me stats on men versus women. And there's 57% members are female and the rest are male. So I suppose we've got an even enough out balance there. Who's taking in the most money? That's another stat that I have together. But yeah, so I suppose that's all really I have to say for today, Vikram. But thank you so much. And so much else that was said today echoes my feelings. So thank you all for sharing that.
Thank you, Andrea. It's always a pleasure listening to you, and thank you for coming on all the shows that you do come to. So thank you very much. So again, time-based. Yeah. So now time-based again, Girja, please come in. Girja is at about what, 9:15 at night. So please. Without unmuting, difficult. That'll be good. Actually, everyone reads lips. What better than that? No translation required.
So a very happy Women's Day to everybody, and happier days to come. I think I will first thank Vikram for getting us all together. It's a great initiative. I've known Vikram as a friend, I think, for when he was a young boy to being a man with a young heart now. I've known him for many, many years, and I've always admired the way he's mediated matters and tried to bring peace on many instances. Since we are in the same profession, I've seen that personally. So I do thank him a lot for giving me this opportunity. So my view on mediation has always been that, so far, I think mediation was the poorer cousin of dispute resolution, and people would look down upon it and not give it the impetus that we've got in the last 1 or 2 years over mediation. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us now, because I personally have litigated a lot of matters. I've been a litigator. I went into court, and I felt that I was competing with a lot of men for good cases, for my fees, for interacting with clients, and that made me very, very aggressive. And I myself didn't realize the skills and qualities I had as a mediator till I took on mediation matters, and I feel a transformation within myself. I think I'm more peaceful within myself now, because now I'm handling cases which, I see a quicker closure, and I see more peace with my clients, and I see more outcome on my own matters that I go and, as against what would have happened if I was litigating a case. So I think it's very peaceful for me, and it is, in some ways, it gives me the feeling that it's also a social cause that we are doing. It's an opportunity that we get to do for many of the clients, because otherwise cases could go on for litigation for years together and then go into appeal, and then the outcome was very, very bleak. But now we see that there's a quicker outcome, and it's very satisfying at both ends, as a lawyer as well as from the client side. And that gives a lot of peace and happiness. I think there are also many opportunities which now I think Vikram has opened the door for us, where we all can look at co-mediating in many forums across the world. I specialize personally in intellectual property matters and cross-border transactions. I've co-mediated a few matters across borders with, so far it has been with men mediators, but I would look forward to doing it with my women friends now. And I think there's a huge opportunity there, because we can exchange views, there can be cultural differences, but I think we can quickly overcome that by talking to each other. And, also, I think we tend to be more friendly together, and, we can see things more positively together. I think with men, there's always a little bit of a barrier when you're, co-mediating. So I think that would be a great opportunity for all of us to explore. And I also think that somehow we have to think of ways to break the glass ceiling and see how we can, use our women's strength to bring in better fees and a better set of clients into this profession, because I think mediation is going to be the future for all of us, not only all of us, but also for many companies and, around the world. I've been an arbitrator also on many matters, but I realized that, again, the fight with, handling a matter as an arbitrator as against handling a matter as a mediator is different. Because I think because mediation didn't have its a fair share of acceptance in the past, but now I think it has a different status completely. So I would look forward to interacting with you in the future, and I think I open the doors for you to come into India anytime and be in touch, and I would be very happy to welcome you here and see how we can build alliances. So all the best to all my friends, and I'm glad to have a whole international forum of friends around in such a short while. Look forward to keeping in touch, and all the best.
Thank you, Girija. And whatever Girija, the nice thing she said is only because she liked to say it. I'm not giving her a treat or anything to say that. Please, Girija, you have to make sure. Okay. So again, time based. I think Karen. I think Kathy, it's okay with you. Karen comes in because I think time zone basis. I think she's a little later in the morning than you. Yes, Karen.
Hello. Thank you so much, Linda, for the invitation. I am very inspired to be here. I have been involved in conflict resolution from within. I have been working in prison programs in Mexico for some years. And what I am passionate about is the big, huge change that each person can have in its surrounding when they tap into peace and when they can let go of resentment and hatred. And I feel, or I'm very passionate about contributing to building to a better society where people can feel more at ease, more happy. And so, yes, I am not a mediator. I feel of myself as a peace builder. And I was very inspired to see how much heart you bring to this, to your profession everywhere in the world. And thank you so much for inviting me, Linda. And Happy Women's Day.
Thank you, Karen, for coming in. And the idea was women and mediation. So you didn't have to be a mediator as long as you've had some exposure and you can tell us what your views on mediation and women are. Most welcome on that. A little later also after this. So now let me just get in. Kathy, I think Lisa should come in first. In terms of time, I think Lisa's later in the morning than you. Although Lisa, Kathy's been waiting. She hasn't had a coffee also yet.
No, Kathy can go first. You know,
Kathy, have you had your coffee or not?
But let Kathy go first. And hi, Indrani. Hi, Kathy. Okay.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Okay, so Kathy says she's drinking coffee.
I don't know. Okay, so before she comes in, let me tell everyone that Lisa's starting a new show where she's getting ordinary people and talking about their extraordinary
Ordinary
lives.
people, extraordinary voices, and the inaugural show is on the 18th, and Vikram will be there. So if you want to be in the room, let me know. Just send me something on LinkedIn, and I will include you. I'll put it on YouTube later, but this is the chance now. The beautiful mind that I will be interviewing is Mr. Vikram
But
Singh,
Lisa, do you
the
understand that
mediator extraordinaire? Yes.
I'm the only ordinary person you could have found in the world. That is why, which is the other ordinary person you'll find?
Everyone is an ordinary person. That was the point of it. Ordinary people, extraordinary
They're all
voices, because we're all ordinary and we all have extraordinary voices. So I can interview anyone. That includes everyone, but the focus is around conflict. So sometimes it will be mediators. Sometimes it'll be people in conflict. I have people who have just come out of prison, have wonderful voices and wisdom. It's the wisdom that I want to capture. So,
so now what do you want Kathy to go first or you want to go first?
Yes, Kathy can go first,
Kathy,
because
please.
I love to hear Kathy.
And you love Kathy also.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
But Kathy
Thank you,
decided...
Lisa. Love you too. So delighted to be here and to listen to these voices from around the world on this most auspicious International Day of Women. And so thank you, Vikram, for creating this opportunity. And I feel like I must first address the changing of the location. And I'm going to come at it perhaps a bit backwards. As mediators, I think we play a multiplicity of roles. One of the roles that we play is that when we're in that room with those parties in conflict, we are there to facilitate a process whereby the conflict can be understood, the different perspectives can be understood, and that's what our job is when we're in that space. And we are also advocates and activists for change. And I think I've heard this thread throughout the conversation. And so one of the reasons that I put so-called Canada in the location is that if we are to affect change, we have to name and recognize the wrongs that have gone before. I live in a colonized country, as do many of the rest of the women on this call. And I'm unwilling to just simply stand by and let dominant cultures continue to control the dialogue. And as a mediator, that is also what I do. I intercede to make sure that the playground is a level one where there's not only equal but equitable, and I think we must be served to differentiate between those two. As a feminist, I think there's been an evolution in the understanding that equality is not necessarily what we want as women. What we are looking for is equity. And that can mean that sometimes voices that have been treated unequally need to have a bigger place on the platform. So that's why I put so-called Canada. I live on the unceded territory of the Shuepen people. And it is their land that I'm privileged through my whiteness and through my history to live in. And then the other thing that I want to acknowledge here is the many languages that we speak, and yet English has become the dominant language, certainly in the Western world. And so many people on the call speak not one, but 2, 3, 4, and more languages. And language difference can play a big part in mediation, recognizing that language, English in and of itself, is a language that is used often to dominate and to create inequality. And so it's incumbent upon us as mediators to know that and to recognize that. And so one of the ways that I have done that and do that is through the use of creative media, whether it be poetry, which is one of my predominant forms, but also through art, through drawing, through role play, to give opportunity to voice, if you will, what is important for us or for that person in the mediation through different means other than language. So I've been a mediator for, I don't know, 30 years. Sometimes I think I've been a mediator my whole life, because as a woman, it's what we do. We organize children on the playground, and and we get people to, our children friends to work together, and I'm also a facilitator and educator. I agree with the many women who've said the importance of helping women to understand their natural role as mediators and to be able to turn those skills into a profession. And I'm privileged to be a middle generation of dispute resolution practitioners. My grandfather became a lawyer at age 65. He was the valedictorian and president of his graduating class in California. He was invited by President Kennedy to come to the Supreme Court, but he said, no, I'm too young and I've only been practicing law for a year, so no, thank you. And my daughter is now a practicing lawyer and works with mediators, primarily in employment issues. And so and I recognize that as a woman, I'm a member of this illustrious profession, and that's our heritage as women to play these roles. So delighted to be here and to hear other people's comments. So thank you.
Thank you much. Thank you, Kathy. There is a special session happening in April. I'll talk about it after Lisa finishes, which is something which you should be part of. So Lisa, please.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
We can hear you.
So thank you, Vikram, for inviting me. And it's really an honor to be with such a wonderful and inspiring group of women who are talking today. So that having been said, I've been thinking a lot of things have been going through my mind as everyone's talking. I myself came to the profession later in life. I think I was in my 40s when I entered the profession, and I entered the profession to help me because I wanted to do diversity and intercultural training. And I thought I needed a skill because I recognized that the differences that we have create conflict, and I wanted to have better skills to deal with that. But I'd been mediating with my children, just as many of you said, naturally we are doing that as mothers. We're helping them with their conflict in one way or the other. And we know that we're doing that, or we're in our communities, we're involved in our communities. I was definitely very involved in my community. So I think that it was a natural choice for me to take some learning. I really did learn, though, a lot of things. I think that skills that I think that have enhanced everything I do. And the skills that I've learned, I think, are a wisdom that now I carry. And I think that each one of us as women also has a special wisdom. And I would encourage everybody to put those wisdom and those lessons down and pass those on, because I think those are the important lessons that get missed, that those women voices are not out there with their wisdom, passing on the wisdom that they've learned. And some of that's structural, some of that is because we also tend to be humble as women, and that humility keeps us from sharing our voice. And so I think we need to put our voices out there and open those windows, because as listeners of other people's conflict, we're opening windows to their soul. It's not through their eyes, it's through their stories. And when we listen, and we listen intently, and we hold back our own judgment, we open up a door to something new, to new thought, to new possibilities. And that, I think, is the beauty that we have, and we have as women. And we are, like, I think when I lived in Indonesia, there was a term, you know, like if you ask for somebody's nationality, it's your suku bangsa. It's whose lap did you sit in? And that speaks to who we are as women. As women, we are the people who pass on the culture to our children. We influence a lot of the future through our children. And I feel like that's part of what we can do also as mediators, that we can use that to influence. Right now I'm learning, I want to be doing more international mediation in conflict. I want to be a mediator in ethnic conflicts and religious conflicts. So I'm learning those skills. And one of the things that really strikes me in this is that mediation is a very huge part of the peace building process. That you don't have a peace building without mediation. And mediation helps to change the narrative, from one of conflict to one of connection. And I heard a lot of the stories as you went along with people who started to build that bridge and started to say, well, wait a minute, let's look at how we can build a bridge and not think of us and them, but think of we. So that's also what mediation does in ethnic and religious conflicts and in international peace building. And to me, that's where we can see new possibilities. And the other thing is that in peace building, women's voice has to be heard. They finally figured out that you can't have peace without bringing women into the conversation. Duh. So I think we should also look at that, how do we get women's voice as part of the conversation? How do we get women's voice to build these bridges? So I guess that's where I am right now, kind of in my journey. I've been a community mediator since 1995 after my first husband died. That was a profession I chose. And I got a commercial and popped up on my screen. Sorry.
Lisa, but you want to watch the commercial? You watch the commercial, because what I went
No, I don't want to watch a commercial on my
I'll
screen.
tell you why I'm telling you this, because went wrong. There is Shifan is there from India, and I didn't see her video is not on, and I didn't realize it was almost 10 o'clock for her. So I just felt if we can get her in and then get you back in, is that okay with you? And
I can be done. I mean, I'm okay.
No, we don't want you to be done. We don't want you to be done at all. No, I'm just saying it'll be late for her. It'll be a little late for her. It's getting a little late for her, as I understand. Shifan, we'll get you back in.
Hi.
Where is she? Can you see her? I didn't see her. Yeah, she's there. Yes, Shifan's there. Shifan's there.
She was there before.
Yeah. So Shifan lives in a beautiful part of India, which is Kashmir, and she will, of course. Yes, Shifan. Please, you're going to unmute yourself, Shifan.
I've been listening to all the conversations, and I've been here all along listening in to everyone. And just in continuation to what Lisa was saying, first, let me wish everyone a very happy Women's Day. Here we are celebrating women as mediators. And the best part is that we are all dealing with their strengths. And Vikram is here, who is very much emancipated to have all these women together on the panel, all this distinguished panel. Hello, everyone. I'm from Kashmir. I'm Shifan Jahan. I'm a lawyer, and I'm building a small group, Spark the Peace Builders. We are into peace building because I come from a state which has been, for the past 30 years, it has been in a state of conflict. But given that, let me start with what we have been already dealing. I will just be reiterating what everyone has said and dealing with the strengths that all of us have already dealt here. Our gender is specifically known as the fair gender, but we have got a very pivotal role in the family, which is definitely the basic unit of any society. The focal position of a woman in the family as the caretaker and the keeper builds her role as a key mediator who likes to have everything in order and her family members bound together in harmony. Therefore, she acts as a peacekeeper, often mediating differences. That's her natural instinct, as we have already reiterated this fact. This is her strength. And this natural instinct of resolution is through reconciliation, mainly through reconciliation to maintain the harmony around. And then her ultimate goal has always been rehabilitation, though there are exceptions, but generally, this is a natural tendency among the women. And same women are, if given a greater role and education, a proper education, and can be efficient partners in building community peace and resolving conflicts, be it within the family or outside the family. Though there are limitations to their participation, as I told you, I'm also building a small group. We are thinking of building peace, not keeping peace, but building peace. And that's the need of the hour at this present. Our young generations have suffered tremendously because of the conflict, 30 years of conflict. Then involving women in community measures of peace building or resolving political or social crisis, social issues, is again marred by bias and prejudices, as we all know that we have cultural pressures. They exist everywhere, but we are specifically a very patriarchal society and very religion oriented also. So those things, those biases, those prejudices definitely come to the fore when women want to express themselves. They are not able to express themselves fully, given their education, but they have that lack of opportunities. Definitely they have that lack of opportunities. And when that comes to decision making, they are the secondary partners in decision making. Major decisions are taken all by men. And then when you speak of building peace, then when you speak of peacekeeping or such measures which will bring about peace in the society, they have got a very minuscule role over there. And that's what I want to emphasize, that in conflict zones, especially, women should be given greater participation, given their inherent skills, and given the fact that they are the one who are sufferers in the long run, because when their men are out there in conflict, they suffer tremendously. So those opportunities, that conducive atmosphere has definitely got to be built at the micro level as well as the macro level. And particularly that sense of equality is lacking there. And also access to the resources is also lacking for the women here. The number of women who are in key positions, that's again an issue. There are not many women who are in key positions to take valuable decisions for us, which are female oriented. And stereotypical challenges, they definitely exist there. We have to face all the perceived pressures despite possessing skills, knowledge, or expertise, her social status is not as equal to the man, even though she puts in her best efforts. For all her efforts, she is not recognized. The impact that she creates, that impact is not recognized. And donning the mantle of a mediator, again, women also face pressures. I can tell you, because I'm a lawyer. When we go for mediation, when the cases are referred to alternate dispute resolution, there also the preference is given to the males. The males are given the cream of the cases, the bigger cases, and the family disputes are shifted to the females. There again, as has been reiterated, as has been said by many of the speakers here, the men feel that the female will be prejudiced against them. She may speak in favor of the female, even though she may not be biased, even though she was very honest. And broadly, when we see their decisions, their adjudication, their method of resolution, she gives a very balanced kind of a decision. Women are bridges between divisions, and given a conducive atmosphere, given a conducive environment, their skills can be owned, and their active participation to even conflict resolution starting from the community level can really help in building everlasting peace. Therefore, active participation of women is the must, even as whether it be as family, whether it be in family disputes where they will be negotiators or mediators, engaging in a very productive manner. And that will definitely mitigate the gender-based prejudice also. India definitely has laws regarding equality, but in my part of the valley, I can tell you that there are not many female mediators. There are men, often retired judges, who are there, who have been kept as mediators. A very few of them are trained. This concept is still at its rudimentary stage in our valley. I would really suggest, and I have been participating and watching Vikram do all these sessions, that this kind of a session, I keep telling my friends also, do get involved into mediation. Long litigation does not favor anybody, not even the lawyers. Lawyers also get tired of those long bouts of litigation, and not to speak of the litigants, they also get tired and their faith ultimately shakes, and you don't have so much time always at your disposal that you go about all these years in endless litigation. Mediation is the best way out, where two parties are always in a win-win situation. You give, you take. That give and take is from both the sides. Both the sides are on the negotiating table. They are there on a settlement, and that's what shortens the period of litigation also. And then it's a happy ending when in a mediation is successfully settled. Women in this field are lagging behind, maybe because of cultural, religious, traditional inclinations. And often laws also are outweighed because of these traditional and traditional bindings. In our part, if we speak of conflict resolution, women can be game changers. Women empowerment is therefore definitely very, very important for building strategies. When we build strategies for any kind of a conflict resolution, women should be made essential part of such strategies. They can suggest measures, they know where it pinches hard. So having them as strategists, as important members of those who are formulating strategies, definitely will go in long run to resolve such conflicts. Gender sensitization is essentially important, and an awakening has to be there, that women don't just need to be educated. We are all getting educated, but then they have to be given that conducive atmosphere, that trust that you are building should be, and they should be allowed to participate in all such opportunities should be given to them, where women are able to express themselves wholly and fully in all the given fields. We have law advocates profession was a very male dominated profession, but now we have many women coming into that field. And when we see alternate dispute resolution, women have to be there, and we should make avenues for bringing in women. And the government or those authorities who are concerned with dealing litigation, they should also give cases to the females, good cases, not just the family cases, good cases to the females. And should not just be lost, empowerment should not just be lost in the rhetoric only. We have to work for equality at this level also. Thank you, Vikram. Thank you so much. I'll go with this. Thank you, Vikram. So nice of you to have me.
Thank you, Shafan. I love that passion that you bring in. I think that's really required. So what I'm going to, like Orith and Nora have just joined us. So how we are going about it, Orith and Nora, is based on the time of the day that people are. Sultan is right now in Turkey. I think we'll have to get her in right now. So Nora, you have enough people to translate for you. So you don't worry about that.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So
hello.
Yeah,
you
Nora,
what
I'm going to do is,
me?
so yeah, we listen to you, but first let's Sultan come in. Sultan's coming in. Okay. After that, you come in.
Okay.
Okay. After 5 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Mari. Thank you so much for the invitation, my dear Vikram. Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much, dear Vikram, for the invitation. It's an honor to celebrate with distinguished women mediator from the different parts of the world. Here in Paraguay, it is 1 p.m. And in my role as a woman, I also had to decide one lunch for my son and my mother, who visited from Argentina after more than 2 years due to the pandemic. My English is a bit limited. I am using a translation to share this greeting. It's very relevant and urgent to make human rights visible and manage and conflict in the area prevention through mediation, and in particular in this commemoration opportunity to make visible the human right of women, adolescents, and girls, prevent situation of violence, and promote equality relationship with a gender approach. I am a lawyer, a mediator, and I am migrant woman, and I contribute by generation not violence action in the particularity through mediation and negotiation. However, is still a grain of, and with everything, I feel I can add. To speak of human rights is to speak of human rights. It is to speak of a world that must have the participation of men, adolescents, and children who develop with a thorough respected treatment, free of the power, religion, or submission. Speaking up and exercising our right does not exclude the right of other people, but rather include and strengthen them. This is what I wanted to share. Thank you very much, and excuse me for my limited English. I try use the translation Google. Thank you.
But otherwise, you could have spoken in Spanish also. Karen is here, Jimena is there. They could all help you. But okay, if you want to later, but let's just get Sultan in. Sultan, please. Sultan's been waiting for quite some time. Yeah, Sultan.
Okay, ¿puedo hablar un poco? Okay.
Okay.
Sultan, ¿vos me podés traducir?
No, she can't speak Spanish. She's speaking in
Hello, I'm from Turkey. My English is little. I don't speak English very well, but I speak a little now.
No, Sultan, Yonka will help you. She's there. She can also help you.
Yes. I need. I said Yonca San maybe.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, now I speak little English, and after that I speak Turkish. You help me, okay? I so happy. I see you. I think they are my family. I'm mediator and lawyer. I love mediation and non-violent communication. It's very important for me. My family, my friends, my I think it's wonderful for me, my other people. I study this and mediation. Okay, I speak Turkish and Yonca help me.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. Ben yani akşam olduğu için çok fazla uzatmak istemiyorum. Burada akşam, oradaki saati bilmiyorum.
Yeah,
Ama
I don't want to speak too much. It's because of the the Turkey's time is the evening time, especially at 7 o'clock.
Yes. Now yani çok mutluyum burada olmaktan, bu topluluğun bir parçası olmaktan.
I'm so happy to be part of this special organization.
Kadınlar Günü'nü kutluyorum hepimizin. Yani kadınların
happy Women's Day to all of you.
Kadınların dayanışması, özellikle Vikram'ın buna aracı olması çok güzel.
Especially the cooperation women is so important, especially via Vikram kindly support. I'm so pleased to be part of this situation.
Yani burada bununla bitirmek istiyorum. Daha büyük organizasyonlarda umarım İngilizceyi akıcı bir şekilde daha konuşabilirim. Bunun için uğraşacağım. Çok teşekkür ediyorum hepinize. Burada olmaktan çok mutluyum.
I thank you for your kindly organization, and next time I can speak English so fluently. Have a good night or good evening or good morning.
Yonca, sana da teşekkür ediyorum.
You're welcome. Rica ederim.
Nothing else? That's it, Sultan? Nothing more?
Yes, that's it, unfortunately.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So, Orith, please.
Hi. My name is Orit. I'm from Israel. I've just joined after 6 hours mediation, so I didn't prepare anything. And I'm not aware of what are the requirements for this conversation.
Anything, Orith. Mediation and women, however you want to connect it, whatever you want to talk about.
I would love to share with you. I think that women have so much potential, and we as mothers can influence our daughters and our sons. I only have daughters, but also our sons, but by giving them just a good example of how to be strong, influential, and self-fulfilled women. And if we do what we like, and I assume that everybody online now love doing mediation. And when my daughters see my passion about mediation, how joy and fruits, also economical fruits, it brings to our family, then I think we can influence the next generation to have even more easy route than we had. I want to tell you a word about women in Israel. There is still a lot to do in order to achieve equality, payment-wise and in top management places. But Israel had a woman prime minister in the 70s, which back then was very rare. all the commercial banks were headed by women. Also, the General Bank of Israel was headed by a woman. And the High Court of Israel was the heads of the High Court were occasionally a few women. And I think all the legal world in Israel is going through an equality position between men and women. It's not an equality everywhere. There is, as I said, a lot of work and a lot to be done in order to achieve equality. But in the legal world, we see many talented women, and I wish this would spread all over to other industries as well. And it's fun to see each and every one of you. I apologize, I missed the introduction by all of you, but I hope we can connect via LinkedIn, and together we are a good team of spreading the news about mediation. Us women can influence the world via mediation. I really believe that. We bring a special attitude and a special rhythm to the room. And personally, I mediate for, I think, my 23rd year now, since 1999, yeah. And I really feel that we make a small influence in each group of people that come to our mediation, and we bring our women's talent and other talents, of course. And the more we mediate, the more we influence people on the notion of having conflicts finalized in good terms and in via smart solutions and not via wars. And well, this last month had taught us a lot about other ways, not so smart, to finish war situations. So I hope our influence will be wide and successful.
Perfect. Thank you, Orith. So now only thing was that I had cut off Lisa. Lisa, where are you?
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. You don't have to be sorry for anything.
I bothered you?
No. I did. I asked Lisa. Lisa was saying something. I cut her off at that time. But
sorry, Lisa.
No. I was fine with that. I was only finishing up whatever I was saying. So I think I'm done. It's okay.
It was just the time zone thing. No, you're not done. But it was just the time zone thing. I was just checking if Loretta is back. If she wants to just say something. Loretta, you want to say something because you're on a later time in the day. So if you have to go somewhere or something, you can finish what you were saying before your daughter came in.
Okay, sorry about that. I had to put that to bed. She's sleeping. So to round off, I was just saying women are no longer waiting for seats to be offered to them at the table. They are also building tables and inviting other women to join them, because I've seen young women lately build organizations, and help other women grow and train them and place them in positions where they can also, have a voice. I think the problem we had initially was that we were scared of being out there, but now that we've realized that we can also be there and still do other great things, somehow the pandemic was able to, bring out so many skills. You can multitask. There are a lot of people here who are doing other things, but they are still on this call. Like Ari just came from a 6-hour mediation meeting. That's a lot. She should be resting, but she's here with us. That's something to commend her for. And I know that with time, last year we discussed other things, offer us a table, involve us in certain activities, let us be recognized and everything. But this year, we are not saying you should offer us a seat at the table. We are saying we are here. We need to be heard. We need to be seen, you know. So I think that with time, we'll also unlearn the bad habits we learned maybe while growing up, those things in our heads that kept ringing then, that, oh, women are not supposed to be here, women should be behind the scenes and everything. And one thing I have come to learn is men always, for example, when they are looking for jobs, they apply for those jobs whether they are qualified or not. But women, we always self-reject ourselves. We always wait to be qualified. Like when you check the qualification, you meet the entire qualifications listed on that job description. But no, a man can have like maybe 2 skills or 3 skills out of 15, and they are applying for that job. Why? Because they are confident. They know that they can be given the opportunity, and a woman can have 8 out of 15 and still be laid aback because she's scared that if I apply, they might not, give me the job or something. So what I'm doing these days is the women around me, I'm encouraging them to continue to do it afraid. If you are applying for a job, apply for it afraid. Who knows, you might get a job. And even if you get a no, it's going to come back with like a recommendation, and it will tell you maybe, oh, you are not able to meet this so and so qualification, and you need to work on it. And you can go work on it and come back again and give it a shot. So I don't think anybody should go home and relax. And I'm proud to be among, the fantastic women here, because I've seen that everybody is strong-willed. They've worked really hard. Some have worked for 30 years, and that's like an inspiration to me, because I've not really worked for even 10 years. So it has encouraged me, to do more. And I think I'll also encourage the women around me to also, imbibe this culture. Thank you very much. And it was nice meeting everyone here. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta. Always nice listening to you. So, Lisa, please.
No, I don't know that I have anything to add now. I'm out of steam.
It cannot happen. It doesn't happen that way with you, Lisa.
It happens. It happens.
It never happens like that.
I was only going to give my background because everybody did, but I don't have,
No, you tell us. So it's such a vast experience. You have to tell us in every aspect of it, because up till now people have touched with.
Old. That's it. I have lots of experience because I'm old. No, I started when I was 40. That's what I was saying when you interrupted that. I was in my 40s. My first husband had passed away, and I wanted a profession. So I wanted to be able to speak to, I wanted to bridge cultures. I wanted to work across cultures. And that's why I studied mediation. And those skills, have gone very far, but I've worked a lot in community mediation. I learned from the community mediation, I wanted to find better ways to do things. So I learned restorative justice. So then I also have done family group decision-making, circles. I've used the circle process. So a lot of restorative justice techniques. I use them when I'm helping people also in diversity. So I use my skills as a facilitator for conversations. I have taken these skills in a broad way and applied them in so many different things. And I think that's why I appreciate mediation so much, because it's not just one thing. That once you learn the skills, you can see so many different ways to apply it. And so that's that. I still do community mediation as a volunteer, but I had developed the victim offender mediation and those other things and other programs, because I can write grants. And if you can write grants, you can influence the direction of wherever you're working for. because you can find that way of getting money. Yes.
From the gender perspective, I mean, in the sense, women and mediation, anything more on that you want to add? And the last so many years of
I mean,
experience?
from my perspective and what I've learned over the years, because I feel like there is still a long way in many different areas of mediation, as the women were talking. But what I have learned is to go after it, because if you go after it, you know, don't let what we think is the status quo stop us. And I've also learned that in many different circles that I walk in, that sometimes I'm the only woman in the room. And that was just because I just put my voice out there. I learned to put it out there and say, okay, you know, I think I have a voice. And so I think that's what's important, that we need to let our voices shine and not be afraid of that. And I think, Loretta, what you were saying is, you know, that's right. You know, like, we don't go after it. A lot of us don't, as women. We take that modesty. And so I think it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see all the women in the room, and to see where we're going. Yes.
Because Kathy wanted to come back in. Yes, Kathy, you want to come back in? Anyone wants to come back in now? Please come in. I mean, I think.
And I want to sneak out.
Okay, you want to sneak out, but I wanted to. But Kathy, what I was telling you, Kathy,
Sneaking out.
Sneaking out. Yes, I want to speak, but I have work to do.
Yes, I have to leave for a meeting in 20 minutes, but I'm just so enjoying the conversation, and hearing other voices. So I know we haven't heard from Orit in Israel, or Mylene, and so I'm just gonna listen to these other people and hang out until I have to go. I've got nothing more to add. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So because everyone has had a chance to speak, only thing is that Nora did not speak too much because she was not very comfortable speaking in English. But please, Nora, you can come back in, or Elizabeth, anyone wants to come in, please, if you want to. Yes.
I can add something to what I said before. I agree that we have an excellent tool in our hands, and that mediation is a very wide tool. I look at it as a magic wand, because mediation is for me, I was a commercial lawyer before I became a mediator. And for me, mediation is a business tool for smart solutions, business solutions. We don't want to go to court, because court is not in charge of doing business. It's in charge of legal questions, and it's always mixed with business issues. So it doesn't make sense. Mediation is a better place for business issues.
But specifically as a woman, I mean, as a woman, that aspect of it, linking mediation and that.
And mediation is also a social tool for me. It's not just a conflict resolution tool. And as a social tool, the more women are in the circle of mediation, the more we spread equality, the more we spread our special voice, our special tone. And I never regarded myself as a woman in the room. I'm a professional in the room, and in so many mediations, I'm the only woman in the room, but it's a question of how we see ourselves. They don't come to me because I'm a woman, or they don't not choose me because I'm a woman. They choose us because we are good and we give good service. And that's achieving equality. Just giving the best we can, and the best we can do magics in the room. So if we believe that, we make the things happen in the room, and we make everybody work together as a team. And this is one remark. And the other remark I want to say that is about money. It's not so comfortable to talk about money, and it's not so comfortable for us women to ask for high money. But if we are good, and if we give good service to the clients and to the lawyers, then we should get paid like everybody else. I mean, like the top league good ones. And we should not be afraid to ask for what we deserve. And if we ask for it, and if we are good, we get it. It's just a matter of us believing that we deserve the fees we ask for. And being brave and being leaders in that field as well is giving a good example to other women around. And there is no reason that men should get higher salaries in management. And the same is true about mediation. Good mediators should get good money. And if you are good, you shouldn't get money as a woman. You should get money as what you deserve as a professional. And this is my 2 cents. I hope I was not too long.
That's a lot of dollars, Orith. It's not 2 cents only. But the important thing right now, as I see it, is mediator should get money. The gender aspect hasn't even come in yet. There is lots to work there on.
No, the gender is also there.
It is? Okay.
Learning to ask for what we deserve is a gender thing as well, and we shouldn't ignore that.
Yep, absolutely. So, anyone else wanted to make any comment? Nora, you wanted to say something, or did I cut you off short earlier?
¿Puedo hablar en español?
Okay, speak in Spanish. We won't understand, that's all, doesn't matter. You please speak in Spanish. You must speak in Spanish. You must, actually, you must. It doesn't matter how it doesn't matter, you can translate later, but at least speak in Spanish. There will be people listening to it in Spanish who should know what you have to say.
Hablo en español. Volver a señalar la importancia de este encuentro, sumamente importante, con tantas distinguidas colegas mediadoras, donde vos, Vikram, nos unís como ese tejedor de hilos. You understand?
No, we don't understand anything. You have to translate.
Ok, hablo en español. Igual hay público que también nos escucha. Y la relevancia de visibilizar hoy, en el Día Internacional de la Mujer y sus derechos, de nuestros derechos, y que de un lugar tan lejano como es la India, nos puedas aglutinar a tantas mujeres valiosas, que sumamos nuestras voces, y que la mediación es un espacio para visibilizar los derechos humanos de todas las personas, y en particular de las mujeres. Muchas mujeres en el mundo somos mediadoras, pero también muchos hombres en el mundo son mediadores y se están sumando a esta causa de promover los derechos y de garantizar abordajes de prevención de conflictos que tengan esta mirada centrada en las personas y en sus derechos. La mediación tiene un rol sumamente relevante, sumamente importante, para prevenir situaciones de conflicto, prevenir violencia, en un mundo que aparentemente nos muestra la cara más hostil de la humanidad, donde violentan a mujeres, a niños, a ancianos, personas adultas mayores, personas con discapacidad, y nosotras, como mujeres mediadoras y hombres mediadores, necesitamos realmente generar acciones dentro de la mediación y en nuestro campo diario profesional, reconociendo la relevancia de ejercer los derechos, porque no puede haber paz si no se respetan los derechos humanos. Y en particular, visibilizando los derechos de poblaciones específicas y de grupos más vulnerables, como es el caso de nosotras las mujeres. Espero que tenga años de vida para ver realmente un mundo menos violento, en donde ya no necesitemos celebrar días de derechos específicos de poblaciones específicas, porque la igualdad y el respeto para todas las personas será siempre una bandera que nos una, pero hasta que eso no ocurra, es sumamente importante tener estos días para tomar conciencia, porque no es un día, son todos los días de nuestras vidas, de garantizar los derechos de todas las personas, y nuestro rol como mediadoras, mujeres mediadoras, es sumamente relevante, no solamente en los procesos de mediación, sino también en los procesos pedagógicos, dentro del aula, en las mediaciones, en nuestra vida cotidiana, en nuestras relaciones con hombres, con niños, con adolescentes, de qué significa vivir una vida ejerciendo derechos. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nora. Now you have to translate that into English. At least the gist of it, a little bit. You tell us a little bit what you said. You said so much. At least you have to tell us what it was all about. You did not abuse any of the people sitting here. You have to confirm that also. So please, what did you say, Nora? What?
In English?
Yes, in English.
Oh.
Because.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You are very, very bad, Vikram.
Come on, you'll have to tell us. We have to tell us what you said.
The mediation and the human right is only is very connected. Okay, we can separation is only one, and other mediator woman, we need visibility in this day, and every day is very important association. Mediation, woman, human rights, in other practice, and in other theory work, we need to practice more. Is not only day, but every day, because the pace, the peace with vinculation, connection, human right and the woman right is only one. This.
Okay. Because I tell you what the thing is that you have to translate for Mary also. Mary wants to speak in Spanish, but will you help her in translation?
Okay.
Yep. Okay, Mary, please. Mary, speak in Spanish. Nora will help you.
Bueno, quería decir algo que es para mí muy importante. Nosotros vamos hacia las ODS y estimo que debemos realizar acciones concretas, es decir, este espacio que nos ha brindado Vikram tiene que comenzar a realizar esas acciones con todos los países que en este momento las mujeres estamos aquí para visibilizar y conmemorar, y también el rol del hombre en este acompañamiento, en esta complementariedad que tenemos. Es decir, hombre y mujer deben ir acompañados de la mano en este cambio, en esta transformación, porque solas no podemos. La paz se logra entre todos, y convoco a que armemos y diseñemos verdaderos protocolos para comenzar a realizar acciones concretas. Tanto Israel, Canadá, Estados Unidos, Nigeria, Rusia, México, Irlanda, la India, Nigeria, donde cada mujer vive situaciones diferentes. Eso es lo que solicito, Vikram, que armemos acciones concretas para juntos con los hombres realizar este gran cambio que la humanidad lo necesita. Disculpen que no hablo una palabra de inglés. Sí, estoy comprendiendo lo que están diciendo, pero me voy a tener que poner a practicar porque Vikram es muy estricto. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Mary. I didn't understand what you said, but you said some nice things. That's all I know. Nora, she said something nice, I'm sure.
Vikram, I can translation some word with Mary.
Yes, please.
Yes?
Yeah, please.
Mary say that making woman right visibly create joy work with men. It proposes to make protocols to carry out concrete action from each country, making woman right visibly. Peace is not achieved alone. Apologize because or speak in English. Okay.
Nora, she said something after that. She said Vikram. When she said Vikram, she said something nice things about me. Please translate that also. She's missing out the important translation.
I would try. I can translation the resume.
Okay, no issue.
Be careful, Vikram.
Yes.
You're in a group of women.
Yes.
No, but she's editing the important part. She said Vikram is doing something nice. That's all I wanted to hear. Something nice. So okay, doesn't matter. Mylene is coming in. Yeah, okay,
Something nice.
Mylene is coming in. Yeah, Mylene, please.
Oh my goodness. I had no intention of speaking. I'm a guest of Linda's, Linda Asuma Weinstein, who is no longer here.
You're our guest now. You're our guest now. So please don't worry at all.
You know, I worked for quite a few years as the head of communications for California Poor People's Campaign, and I worked with about 200 organizations. I'm also a psychotherapist and a mother and a building manager, which makes me a mediator. I manage 24 unit. Oops, sorry. After all these years of working, also I've taught co-parenting to many couples and to court-ordered people who are destroying their families over divorce. And I finally came to the point where I realized that my internal landscape was the most important part of all of it, because as long as I had my own personal anger and self-loathing and childhood injuries, that I projected that out onto all the work I did. So when COVID hit, I took a back seat because I thought, if I'm fighting racism and I hate the racism, am I not adding more hate to the fire, you know? And so I really questioned myself, no matter how I thought I was on the right side of things, you know, and wanting everyone to thrive and everyone to be heard at the table. I also felt that my personal issues were contributing to the problem. So now I'm kind of navigating how I want to approach issues for myself, for others, and navigating the landscape that way. Because I think that there's a lot for myself to learn in subconsciously how I might be amplifying issues around me without even realizing it. And I also feel, as a mother, I look at people in power positions that abuse their power, and I think to myself, you know, we as women cannot look at that as men issues. I look at it as who raised these men. It's not, of course, it's not just who raised the men. That's the problem. I mean, obviously, men are adults and will make their own choices. but I also think it's very important that we as women really see how we raise our children, and we raise our men in a male privileged global community. And yeah, and there's just so much to learn all the time from each other. So that's it. Thank you. And what an extraordinary event. And I'm very grateful to Linda to have extended this invitation. Thank you, Vikram.
Thank you. Thank you, Marlene, for coming in. It's nice to hear your views. And you've sat through almost 3 hours, so I'm sure you've enjoyed it. And now I think, what Indrani was there. Indrani is there somewhere? Oh, no, she's gone. Yeah, Indrani is
I
there.
have to leave, Vikram, but thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who participated. Lovely to hear these so many different and yet connected voices. So thank you again, everybody. And thank you, Vikram, for doing an
before you
awesome
leave,
job.
I told you about the 21st of April. That special
Yes,
event that I'm
I've
doing.
already got it in my calendar.
Yes, perfect. I let everyone else know that basically I'm celebrating international days and I'm going to have some sessions with there. So on 21st April, we have World Creativity and Innovation Day. So we are talking about creativity and innovation and mediation. Kathy has already spoken about poetry and mediation and art and mediation in us earlier sessions. So we'll take that and let's see what discussions, where they reach. Right?
I apologize, but I also have to leave.
No problem
but
at all.
It was a pleasure hearing all of the voices that I had the chance to hear, and I'm sorry I joined late.
Oh, no, thank you for coming.
Vikram, as always, thank you. Wow, you are doing marvelous work.
Thank you, Orit, for the kind words. What am I doing? I'm just sitting and listening. That's all I'm doing.
Vikram, I need to leave too. Thank you
Nora,
so much.
Thank you, Nora,
Thank you
for
so
coming
much.
in. And we'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.
Vikram,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have to leave. Thank you so much. See you later. Bye.
Thank you, Yonka. Yoncha. Why did I say Yonka? I say Yoncha.
Bye.
Yoncha. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
So, anyone else? Any concluding remarks? Anything you want to say, Loretta? Ellie, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah. Vikram, I only want to tell you thank you so much, and to tell to any woman which I see today, thank you for your beautiful speech, for a beautiful heart. And I see so many professionals from all over the world. And I understand what any of you is a real light for your environment. Thank you so much. It's already midnight in my house, so I will leave you now. And Vikram, I think that one message what I would add is thanks so much for opportunity to hear Spanish today, because it sounds really like music for me. I understand only little parts, but it was beautiful. But we had translation on English too, and I think that even when we hear a speech in Spanish, we all understand when it was about Vikram, we understand what it was. Thank you so much for all your creating, and thanks what you help us to find each other and to be together.
Yeah, please connect with each other, do some good things. All of you are amazing people. So please, so anything, Loretta, you want to, anything concluding remarks, anything you want to say?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you for always supporting women, especially young professionals in Africa. We don't take that for granted at all, because I know that all the international opportunities I've gotten, they all came from you, and it has also opened doors for me to, learn from people who are way older than me and people who are highly experienced. And I think that will help me grow. And it has also helped me grow in the past year. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And I wish everyone well, and I hope to connect with more people to also learn from them. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Loretta.
Yeah.
So, Indrani, were you saying something? I cut you off there.
Yeah, I'm going to stay off video, but I just want to echo the sentiments of all the women, Vikram. We wouldn't be here because of you. I mean, it's now 10:30 going to 11 your side, and what commitment, what great inspiration, and ambassador for mediation world over. What I realized today is that the common thread with all of us women in the professional space of being mediators is simply that passion permeates, and we must stay connected, because COVID has taught us one thing, if anything, and that is that we live in a global village and we can do so much online. We don't have to jump on planes and be in different countries. So I invite everyone on this platform to stay connected with me and see how we can expand the circle. So from my heart to yours, and all the ladies on today's platform, thank you so much, and happy Women's Day again. Ciao, Vikram.
And what did you make for dinner? Please tell us that.
Oh, it was quick. I'm not wearing, that's why I'm off camera, I'm in my apron, etc. But I made chicken schnitzel with vegetables. There we go.
So nice. This is what I need to hear. At 10:30 without having dinner, this is what I get to hear. And this is what keeps me nice and well fed. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Vikram. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. So, and Girija, are you still there? You want to give any concluding remarks or anything? Girija also gone. So, okay, perfect. So I'll just end this here. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming in. It was wonderful listening to you people, and we'll continue these conversations. We'll have on specific aspects of it. We'll take it up. So thank you very much. Bye.